125 years of Northern Michigan University. That's what we're celebrating here on Upper Michigan today. We've pulled Dan Truckee from the Beaumier UP Heritage Center into this conversation to talk a little bit about the history and what's going on in that department here on campus. So first of all, thanks for joining the conversation.
Yeah,
there's some special exhibits at the Heritage Center and at the DeVos Art Museum. So what can people, the community, students, alumni expect this week?
Well, at the DeVos Museum, there is a collection of studio photographs from the collection of Jack Deo. He's collecting these historic photos going back a long way. And so they have an amazing collection of those on display for people. The Beaumier Center, we have an exhibit. It's not really a history of Northern. It's more 125 years of stories about Northern. And it's about weird things and interesting things and tragic things and crazy things that have happened on campus over time. And it's a mix of stuff.
I mean, that sounds more like just the personal sides of things and not the dates and the names that you would read about in a textbook.
Absolutely. It's really focused on people and stories about people and their experiences at Northern, and some of them, like the very early African-American athletes on campus and students on campus, because, you know, in the 1920s, there were very few black students in Northern, but we did have some. So we were able to use the research to kind of compile their history a little bit and tell you a little more about who they were and what happened to them. Looking at early women faculty at Northern, it's an interesting story about these women. Northern really was dominated by women for the first 20, 30 years of its existence, both as students and as faculty. And it had a lot of influence on the kind of university we became. And so I wanted to tell their story, what it was like to be a faculty member here at that time as a woman and what the expectations were. And then we have a cool thing on beanies. Up until 1970, the freshmen had to wear beanies until homecoming week was over. In some years, they had to continue wearing them if they lost the tug-of-war contest.
Was that like their hazing?
Yeah, what
They had official hazing of freshmen on campus until 1970, and then they said, that's it, we're done, we're not going to do it anymore.
What was the beanie like? Was it just
this
green
little
and gold?
cap, green and gold cap, small cap that you have to wear. And some embraced it, thought it was fun. Others hated it, and refused to wear them, and they get punished for not wearing them.
I think we should bring the beanie back.
Bring back the hazing.
I'd like to see that.
I don't know how well that would go, especially when it's 80 degrees out.
Yeah, so it was all in good fun, but not everyone took it in good fun.
Certainly things have changed in that 125 years. And I mean, even for the people that aren't affiliated with Northern Michigan University, I feel like it'd be worthwhile to check out these stories, check out these histories, because Northern and Marquette, the histories are interwoven that you can get something out of it, even if you're not a graduate like me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Marquette had only been around 50 years when Northern started, so we've been such a part of the community, a big part of the community for 125 years. But also so many of those people were part of the community in the sense that they were leaders in the community, educators, mentors, and still to this day. And Northern's really just grown so much. I mean, in 1955, there were 800 students in Northern, and by 1967, there were 7,000 students in Northern. So in that period of time, Northern and Marquette went through an extraordinary amount of change.
So for somebody who's in town this week or interested in going to either museum, how can they do that, and what do they need to know?
Well, the museums are both open noon to 5 this week, and then on Saturday, noon to 5 as well. The DeVos, we're open till 4 on Saturday. So, and we're free and open to the public. We're right across the street from one another, so you can park once and get to see both institutions at the same time. So it's a real easy deal. So,
is this one of your busier weekends of the year?
Yeah, it always is, and this weekend in particular, because of the homecoming and our exhibit, it's going to be even busier. So we're really excited about that, being able to get alumni to come in and check things out again. So,
do you have a lot of events planned this year for the 125th? Is this just kind of the kickoff?
Yeah, our next is the Sondrager Symposium in November, which is all about Northern. All the presentations will be about Northern. That'll be on November 8th, I believe it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm certain we'll be checking back in with you throughout the year and highlighting some of the programs you have coming up, because it's an important story to tell.
It is.
And we're in the middle of maybe another 125, so we got to see where it takes us.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you for your time this morning and have fun this week.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Yes. All right. We have more for you after this.